Derek Chisora was talking to Radio Raheem, and he reiterated that before he retires, he wants to fight Wilder. He said, I want to taste that power, see if it's real. He said, I don't think so. Listen, say what you like, man. Derek would be a better opponent than a lot of Wilder's opponents. If he gets knocked out, he gets knocked out. Until he gets knocked out, he's going to give Wilder all the trouble he can handle. Trust me. Trust me. It's a great fight. Wilder's been knocked out in his last two. Derek went toe-to-toe with Alexander Usyk. What was it, 7-5? Lost to Joseph Parker last time out. Yeah, but, in the first fight, in my opinion, he was robbed. We're talking about a former IBF champion in Joe Parker. This is one of Wilder's best opponents, but some people want to talk the fight down. I support Derek, man. Derek had 17 fights when he fought with Vitaly Klitschko. Let him go. Tell Derek where the money is, where the boxing ring is, and let him go. He knows what to do from there. Natasha Jonas' career best performance, that has to be. Now, I'm not going to sit here like I know her career inside out, but that was the best performance of the night. Let's not get that twisted. Big up Brook, but Natasha's hand speed and foot speed overcame a naturally bigger opponent, and her opponent has been fighting at 154, 152, and now she's jumping down to 147. Natasha jumped up from 130 against Terry Harper, 135 against Katie, and 147 against NAMUS. I don't know. I don't believe Joe Gallagher trained her to box like that. We don't believe you. You need more people. Big up Joe Gallagher. The punch selection and the confidence, and it's almost like at 37, it's that realization that I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. Fumbling the bag here, nah. And she wasn't having it. She just wasn't going to have it. What a performance, man. I still don't believe Joe Gallagher trained Natasha. Now, her opponent has been champion at a few weight classes, but she was smiling all over her face during the introductions for the fight. What was she so happy about? NAMUS was just too slow. Tasha was extra quick. Like the first knockdown, a right hook. Tasha just got it off and got back out of range, and homegirl was on the floor. She was on the deck. Tasha needed a 3-minute round because it was right at the end, nearby the end of the round. If it was a 3-minute round, it would have ended in the first, I believe, because she was hurt bad. You could see she wasn't going to recover. I knew she wasn't going to recover for the second. Second round, the onslaught continued. Another combination, finished with a left hook, put her down, and the referee rightfully stopped it. And Natasha's finally become a world champion. Frazer Clarke, Olympic bronze medalist, made his debut against Jake Darnell. Frazer, 18 stone. Will that be an issue going forward? We might not find out until he steps up the levels of opposition, in all truth. Jake Darnell, obviously woefully out of his depth. He was making his debut as well. But, Frazer showed some fast hands and he picked his shots to the head and body well. Darnell's corner three in the towel, woefully outclassed. Joe Joyce, he fought Ian Lewison on his debut. Stiffer debut than Jake Darnell. Perhaps in the second fight, the levels may step up considerably if they're talking about a fast track. I mean, Frazer's 30, so they got to get it moving relatively quick. 6'6", naturally a big man, without pumping weights or anything like that, as you can see, or excessive weight training at least. No dramas, no disasters, did what he was supposed to do. And even though he said there'd be no nerves, first time out there as a pro, big crowd, sold out Manchester Arena, no actual ring action since the Olympics. He did what he was supposed to do. He did it well. The scar tissue above the eyebrows, that could be a concern as the journey continues. Now, whether he becomes a regular pay-per-view star, that's another question. But unless it's a total disaster, like the scar tissue, like I say, or maybe he ain't got a chin, or he just can't fight, he will be on a pay-per-view on a Sky platform. I believe he will follow the likes of Dillian and Anthony Joshua and Derek Chisora, and they will develop the pay-per-view fights as long as he keeps winning. Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. The rivalry is over and Kell is the victor. He celebrates and has the ownership of the bragging rights. It's a timely reminder that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford do not want to let this rivalry between them drag out to their near 40 and then they decide to fight for whatever circumstances when we wanted to see the fight earlier. Get it done today. I think Terence Crawford was saying there's too many people gassing Errol Spence up, and Spence is too influenced by his fans. Could be right, and you should never be a fan of any fighter to the point you're too scared to see them in fights that might see her or him get beaten up. And you should never overstep your mark. If you're a YouTuber / media or fringe media, you shouldn't be trying to determine what Terence Crawford earns in the ring or what Errol Spence earns in the ring. Let both of them go in the boardroom and hammer that out, and then we'll get the fight. But don't give your fighter this cushion to hide behind, this fanatical fan base, and let them hide behind that, because it will just be his resume that suffers in the end. And you'll do well to remember or realize that Brook and Khan is an anomaly. British boxing is a lot different. British boxing doesn't rely on world title fights to have a big occasion. It doesn't, because British boxing likes the domestic showdown. So Khan and Brook got away with that. They wouldn't have got away with this in America. Khan and Brook is give or take 5 or 6 years too late. But the public wanted to see it. The British public especially wanted to see it. Tickets sold out in 10 minutes? The pay-per-view numbers would be very interesting. Khan and Brook was all about levels. They both turned pro around 2004. 18 years in the game is a long time. Neither man had ever lost to a British opponent until yesterday. I think it was important to Khan to always be the king of the castle in the UK. He would never have wanted to lose to a British opponent. That's why he'd rather take chances in fights against Canelo, where I knew he wasn't, not knew, but I just assumed he wasn't going to win. I predicted he wasn't going to win, Terence Crawford, who thought he was going to win that? I understand why people went to the who's winning the head games in the build-up in the press conferences. I understand why they went to it, but I always said, if you listen to my weeklies, that people are making a little too much of that, about Khan winning the exchanges here, because Kel is Kel. Kel's not Hollywood. Kel is Kel from Sheffield, and that's who he's always going to be. I'm not saying Amir Khan is like Hollywood, but, he does crave that celebrity status more than Kel does. Definitely so. So he was always going to be the more diva-ish, I'm the A-side guy and I've done everything better than you. He was always going to be that guy. And Kel wasn't concerned with that. Kel was concerned with what's going to happen in the ring. The 149 weight clause, I don't think they was allowed to weigh over, is it 163 or something like that?
Amir's team didn't want Kel to put on too much weight. And I think now that they've satisfied, they've come down to 149. Everyone's happy. Kel's happy. Amir's happy.
Khan's people didn't want Kel to put on too much weight after the weigh-in. Is he saying there wasn't no rehydration clause? He's kind of implying there wasn't. But a lot of people are saying that there was a cut-off limit of 169. I don't think Kel would want to come in any much heavier than that. So I think even Khan fans would probably agree that the weight cut was Kell Brook submitting to Amir, fighting at a weight that was more suitable to him than Kell. Kell's struggles at making 147 have been long time known. So Kell submitted there. Kell also says he was threatened with not being paid for his fight with Khan unless he agreed to changing his gloves just moments before the bell. There was a delay to the start of the bout as discussions went on in Brook's dressing room over his gloves, although the specific problem was not made. Although on my hangout, I want to big up Lennox, who a lot of people are actually acknowledging and asking if he has a YouTube channel, because Lennox has a lot of knowledge on the sport that a lot of people are not able to get hold of, and it's accurate information. I will vouch for that. And he broke down what happened with the gloves. What was the gloves thing about, man?
So I'll give a bit of insight on the gloves thing. There's a political situation going on, yeah. It started out with the owner of Rival Gloves, yeah. The owner of Rival Gloves, he works the corner for a lot of these Eastern European lads, yeah. And Fly is a British brand. They've blown up, basically. I was one of the first lads to have Fly gloves in the States, and all the pro fighters, as soon as they try them on, they're like, raw, I need these, yeah. So there's another brand that's sort of like everyone loves to train and loves. It's Winnings. Fly's basically overtaken Winnings as a brand, and there seems to be some sort of political jockeying to basically get them out of big fights so slow down sales. It's a capitalist commercial thing.
Yeah.
Cal's always won fly. Cal was one of the early fly fighters, yeah. Cal, Jorge Linares, those were the first two guys, and AJ used to wear fly too. But the first time the fly thing happened was in the Dillian fight, yeah? The Dillian and Oscar Rivers fight.
Okay.
You remember that? So what happened there was someone else ended up wearing Dillian's gloves. Dillian was going to wear some Donados. Another one of his fighters ended up wearing them. So Dillian didn't have gloves, and basically the gloves that the commission had were fly. And look up the owner of Rival Gloves. Yeah, he's a cutman. He works as a cutman too, but he owns Rival. Basically, he's been upset because fly's just been killing him in the numbers in glove sales, like training glove sales. So he got upset because you know what happens? All the young lads, them who just, you know what I mean? It's the gloves, yeah. The gloves are like trainers, you know what I mean? Like you see your favorite footballer, if they're wearing the Adidas Predators and you're on a Sunday league, you're going to buy the Predators because whoever, Messi, Ronaldo, whoever your guy is wearing them ones there. So there's been a thing to sort of get fly out of major fights. The biggest thing was when the WBC was like, oh, we're not going to sanction fly gloves for championship fights. And mark my words, yeah, you'll see this issue come up again when Dillian fights, what's his name? Because Dillian is a fly athlete.
Right. Okay. It could be an issue with the Fury fight, yeah?
Yeah, because like Dillian is signed to fly. Dillian only wears fly, so you know what I mean. Like, what's Dillian gonna wear for that for that fight if it happens? But anyway, there's been a bit of political thing. So my thing here, why this was odd was obviously there's been a lot of contractual things. So you agree to the gloves. It's like if I'm signed to Adidas, and you know I wear Adidas trainers, and we come out for Sunday League, and you're like, nah, fam, you gotta wear Nike. Yeah, it's almost like you just pull the madness. You know, it's not like it's the first time man's wearing fly gloves. Look at all of Kel's last fights. Basically, for the last, I think the last time he wore Grants was when he fought Sean Porter. He's always been in fly.
Yeah.
So the man basically, I don't know, for some reason decided he's got an issue. I'm suspect because the fly's got two type of gloves. They got the horsehair fight gloves and this thing. So I'm pretty sure Kel probably had the horsehair fight things yet. But the way it works, the commission approved the gloves yesterday. So I'm not sure what this man was on. All of a sudden having issues with the gloves. So, yeah, so they made him change into the Grants, which Grants are notoriously basically soft the gloves. You get me? Like, right. That's why the man them with hand problems, they wear Grants. Like, famously Mayweather.
Because of his hand issues.
Doesn't Devin wear Grants?
Yeah, they're softer. It's like, it's for a lot of times guys who don't close their hands fully in their gloves wear Grants. So my thing is, big man, you pulled a glove stunt and you still got battered.
He's lucky man didn't have no horsehair flies on him. He would have got fucked. You know that right hand that he took the exchange in the first round where he was wobbled? Those are horsehair flies, he's gone.
So he's gone.
So what gloves did Kel end up wearing then?
He wore the Grants.
Grants, yeah. It was definitely Grants, yeah?
Yeah, they're Grants. Yeah, they're Grants because they're the same ones that Khan wore. And you know why Khan wears them? Because Khan are like a lot of guys, yeah? He doesn't close his hand in his gloves.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
So he needs extra padding because his fingers will bend otherwise.
Yeah, he doesn't close his hand and they go, you know what I mean? So if you make impact and your hands aren't closed, you know what I mean? So, but Fab, how do you let a man, you pull a glove stud and you still get battered? You don't win a round. You just get ragdoll. And Cal wasn't even boxing, yeah? I thought Cal was going to outbox him and stop him later. But Cal didn't even walk in with a jab. My man just stepped to you.
Is that an explanation how Khan was able to take a lot of heavy punishment? Because they were using Grant gloves, which accommodates fighters with brittle or fragile hands. It's not really a puncher's glove.
You know, I look at that fight and I just think, you know, what would Khan been like if he'd gone to Bomac a lot earlier, because he took some big shots from round 1 to 6 and he got through them. So, you know, they've done something with him. They've trained him in a way where he can take shots. It's like, you know, Kel Layton, but you look at his face in the press conference, he's you know, battered and bruised. But he kind of kept on his feet all the way through.
I don't know if Dominic was suggesting that something untoward was going on in the Bo Mac camp, why Khan was able to take shots like that. But, you know, we'll leave that there. But was Khan taking the shots better, or was it just a result that Kel couldn't wear his normal gloves? Traditionally, the raised glove, a Mexican boxing glove, was traditionally known as a puncher's glove. And as Nauta is pointing out, Grant also make horsehair gloves. Hopkins and Klitschko both wore Grant gloves with horsehair, which enables punchers in theory to do their thing. Mayweather also used to use Grant's. And there was the issue with Marcus Maidana where he wanted to use a certain brand of Everlast glove, which Floyd said had no padding in it. And he had to conform to Floyd's A-side demands. But, you know, Kel submitted to all of Khan's demands, whether it was around the weight. He had a gagging order not to talk about the weight clauses. And then they tried to mess with his head with the gloves just minutes before the fight, threatening not to pay him. Kel actually had to walk to the ring in the fly gloves that Lennox was talking about and change to another brand in the ring. And the commentators were saying, well, they should at least come out with pads and let him hit something, because he's just put his hands in a fresh pair of gloves, which he needs to break in a little. But Kel overcame all of the A-side demands from Khan and got him out of there in 6. So Khan cannot have any complaints, and he hasn't complained. He's been very gracious in defeat, and he's been getting a lot of credit for that, and rightly so, rightly so. Khan seemed to be intimating that retirement could be imminent, but the ego doesn't go down that easy. And I wouldn't be shocked that maybe a week or even a month or whatever time period necessary, that he doesn't evoke the rematch clause and say, this didn't go right in training camp and this and that. And he goes from being all gracious to, Kel didn't really beat the real Amir, because the wounds are relatively fresh and he's been humbled, at least temporarily. But I have a feeling that may not last that long. I don't know. I think the rivalry is too bitter right now. You know, like when the realization sets in that Kel's got copyright on the bragging rights, I don't know. I'm not sure if Sky will want to put that back on box office for a second time. I don't know where they'd get a home to accommodate it. I don't know if Kel would be interested. What's he got to prove? Like, the rematch clause is weird, really. I mean, if Kel decides to retire, then Khan can't enforce it, can he? Maybe if Kel chooses to continue, but wants to fight someone else apart from Amir, and Amir wants to fight, then Amir could cause Kel some legal troubles. But without a world title on the line, was there any point stipulating a rematch clause? I don't know. Khan just trying to focus in. Looks a bit nervous to me. He looks a bit nervous. I'm not going to make a prediction, but I will say this. If Khan wins, he'll probably have to get off the canvas to do it. I think if Brook wins and he's on form, he'll probably win comprehensively. Khan will have to struggle for the win, but I can't make a final pick, though. Khan looks a bit shook, man. So that was from the live hangout. And yes, I saw Khan looked a bit shook. A few people saw it. Dean White saw it. A lot of people in the hangout saw it. He looked nervous. See, a lot of people, he won all the head games at the press conferences. You could now, in hindsight, I'm saying in hindsight, you could now argue that he was actually doing a little too much with all the head games talk. Hey, listen, great entertainment. But from the start, I said, this doesn't really mean much. I did say it in the hangouts. And I actually said in one of the weeklies that when he went to the racist thing with the Poppadom comment, to me, it felt like he was losing control of the situation. I always felt like he was amping up the verbal warfare like I've never really seen him do previously, because he knew that physically he wasn't quite there. Mentally, he wasn't quite there. And I'm not going to say he conned the public, but I was asking, well, he talked a good fight, but apart from maybe one round he won and another round he was winning, then Kel hurt him with some big shots and Kel took the round. He wasn't in the fight, was he? He wasn't in the fight. He wasn't in the fight. It was one-sided. Although I was always in two minds, is he overcompensating? Because that's what fighters do, don't they? When they're not physically right, they really try and amp up that psychological warfare, because the physical, perhaps they don't have so much confidence in. Kel, looked good on the scale. Ring entrance, got the pianist to play the intro to All of My Lights, and then the song came in. That was a classy entrance. Now let's not get it twisted. Sometimes all the psychological verbal warfare can play a major factor in a fight. But Kel was out of his element with all that, perhaps. But in the ring, he was more in his element out of the two, 100%. How does someone with the hand speed that Khan has always get timed and tagged? How does that happen? I think to reduce it to one thing would be too simplistic. Sometimes he wants to engage more than he should do in the pocket, throw 2 and 3s, gets a little too brave. And basically, like, he just doesn't have a very good chin. So when he took the unorthodox combination of the backhand, like, Kel threw a straight backhand right and then a jab, and then the jab rocked him in the first round, and that set the tone for what was going to happen throughout the rest of the bout. Amir, he missed a lot of punches as well. The accuracy was not where it needed to be. And in this fight, let's just stay on this fight, he didn't have no faith in his chin, so he wouldn't plant his feet to get power in his shots or the trajectory correct. So he was throwing what they used to call scary punches, hoping to get lucky, literally. He also held a whole lot. He'd try and throw them 1-2s, most of which he attempted, missed, and then he'd hold on. Yes, he had patches where he did some good work, but he missed a lot of punches, and he'd done a lot of holding. Kel's face was unmarked at the end of the fight, and you saw some of the defensive work, especially early, when he was bobbing and weaving Khan's combinations. Kel headhunted a little too much. He wanted the highlight reel. He wanted the highlight reel really badly, didn't he? Wild from Kel. That was very wild. Very wild. Oh, good boxing by Khan. Hand speed. The hand speed gap. Oh, what a jab by Brook. Yeah, Khan looks like he's getting into a rhythm now.
He's more busier than Brook, though.
Yeah, Brook looks tight in there. He looks tight. He's not flowing.
Slow. Look like you did too much weight training or something.
Yeah, he looks like he wants one big shot too much, man. But an accumulation of Brook getting it together, getting a rhythm going, just being physically stronger, and Khan always getting the worst of the exchanges, so him turning it around with a power shot, the odds were never in his favour. Brook looked stronger, more powerful on the scale. Khan, to me, the definition in the chest and the stomach wasn't perhaps where I've seen it before, and the whole Bo Mac effect had no effect on the outcome of this fight. Not at all. And that's not a slight on Bo Mac. We're dealing with the deterioration of Amir Khan, basically. Bo Mac or Terence Crawford's presence was never going to be of any use to Amir Khan here. Not because Bo Mac is a particularly bad trainer or Khan is that bad. One training camp isn't going to fix what needs to be fixed, is it? Maybe for an inferior opponent, they could have got away with it, but not for Kell Brook. Where does Brook go from here? Does he fight Eubank? Does he fight Ben? Some people have said Adrian Broner. Or does he set off into the sunset saying, yo, he scratched the itch of the 18, 19-year rivalry? Is this the opportune moment to bow out? Hopefully he's invested and saved some of the real good purses he's made. Like a lot of people, Eddie destroyed his career putting him in there with Triple G. Do you know how much he got paid for that fight? 3.5. That's his highest payday. That's more than what he got for fighting Errol Spence. For Kell, in the era he grew up, that's generational wealth amongst the working class. Yeah, the eye sockets got damaged, but this is boxing. He fought Errol Spence at 147, and he damaged the other eye socket the same way. That was at 147. There are no easy rides at championship level. Big money, big risks. It's easy for us to say retire, but, if he isn't financially secure like he'd like to be, the time to strike would be now, not make a comeback 2 years later. Because after the success of this fight here, I have no doubt it's going to do good numbers on the PPV on the back of it selling out the Manchester Arena in 10 minutes. Brook is hot right now, so if he goes into a Conor Ben fight, a Eubank fight, a Broner fight, or whoever it is, it's another big purse. Boxers have to strike while the iron's hot. So we'll see what he does. See what Khan does. Maybe Khan might get another big offer from Dubai to go fight there. You never know. You don't know what's around the corner in boxing. Yeah, there was a lot of people who objected to the fight. Oh, it's 6 years too late. I'm not paying for it. And that's fair enough. I understand. I understand your opinion, which you're entitled to. But for me, I was invested in the main event. The undercard at times, yeah, it wasn't all that. But, you know, I watched it. I watched Natasha. I watched Jermaine Brown. Very good performance. FRAZER. Bradley Ray, who scored the first round knockout, who Ricky Hatton was training. And I was invested in the main event. And even though it was one-sided, I got to see the rivalry conclude. So I didn't lose. Not £20 a pay-per-view. I mean, it's not like $74 to watch Furman versus Barrios or Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin. £20. Fair play to Amir Khan. The kid's got balls the size of a fucking behemoth. In all truth, he does. Because I heard him say that he was struggling with the training camp early, that he couldn't get out of bed sometimes. He knew he wasn't the Amir Khan he previously was, but he willingly took the role of the villain to sell the fight, and plus he was trying to bluff Kel, and done a great job. You know, you could say Khan was there for the money grab, but then again, a lot of you, whether it was a legal stream or you paid for it, you came there to see the villain get knocked out, whether he was in top shape or not. But there was some complaints about Hassan Azim, 4 wins with 1 knockout, 2 losses, 1 of them losses by stoppage. His opponent, MJ Hall, had a record of 2 wins, 71 losses going into the fight. Now, I understand they're frustrated they had to pay for that. He's not that bad. He's had 74 losses, only been stopped or KO'd 5 times. He's never stopped no one. 2 wins and 2 draws. And he took Hassan Azim the distance, but they're not satisfied with that. But, you know what I mean? What can I say? Like I said, Khan and Brook, they wanted to maximize how much pounds they were going to make. Most of us who follow the sport are regular. I'm not going to call us anything like hardcores or anything pretentious like that. We were clued up. We knew what we was buying. Okay, let's move on. When I heard Terence Crawford made his way over here to support Amir Khan, I also thought he was scouting the UK to see the potential for a fight over here. And he made a video today saying, yeah, the British fans are the best. They treated him like royalty. He loves the reception he got. And he's looking about a possible fight over here. And he can do these things now. He's a free agent. Well, Eddie Hearn, he's wrote himself out of the sweepstakes. He said he can't get Terence the fights that he wants, but, you know, he didn't even sit down and speak with him. So he's out of the sweepstakes of putting on a fight for Terence Crawford in the UK. Terence is managed by Daniel Kinahan, and Kinahan has done a lot of recruitment for Boxer Double X and Ben Shalom, so it'd be nothing to get Terence to headline a card over here. I'd pay for the pay-per-view. I don't care who he's fighting. I mean, the whole notion that, I can't mess with Terence Crawford because I can't get an Errol Spence fight. Nah. Over the UK, Terence would make a big splash, and he probably wants to be treated like a pound-for-pound consensus 1 or 2, and he knows the UK will deliver that, and he'll put on a show for us. So I'll pay for the pay-per-view. I don't care who he's fighting. I hope he does make that move. Now, the Khan and Brook fight kind of done an avalanche job on Josh Taylor's defense of his undisputed titles at 140 next week in Scotland. And it got me thinking about Bob Arum. Why is Josh Taylor signed to Bob Arum? You have to ask yourself. Like, 10 p.m. UK time is what time Sky is going to broadcast the fight. Around 10:30. Which will be about 5 p.m. in America, or maybe even further back, depending where you are. What use is that for Bob Arum putting out content, being able to put Josh Taylor fighting Jack Catterall, who's barely known in the UK, let alone in America, 5 p.m. or maybe even 4 p.m. in America? What is the point of you signing Josh Taylor, having him signed? What is the point? You don't have Terence Crawford there for him to fight. Nobody wants to see the Ramirez rematch. In fact, Sky are getting the better end of the deal. They get to put Josh Taylor and Catterall on at the prime time slot of 10 p.m. UK time. What's the point? What is the point now? I mean, this is on the back of Arum not being able to get a suitable broadcaster in the UK to witness Josh Taylor winning the undisputed titles. Does there come a time that you just count your losses on this?
Yeah, I don't think you're ready. You don't really believe that you're going to win this fight.
You was the one who postponed the fight.
Yeah, I had injuries, mate. I'm not going to go into a fight with an injury, am I?
Injuries.
You're going to go into a fight with an injury?
Did you have injuries? Did you have injuries?
Do you want to fight an injured Josh Taylor?
Did you go in?
And then,
have you got an injury?
Do you want to fight an injured Josh Taylor and then have an excuse me saying, well, you fought an injured Josh Taylor?
There's no excuses on my behalf.
Well, see, and this time,
that's fine.
Well, this time, I'm fully fit. You're getting
Sweet.
the fullest,
And that's what I want.
fittest, best Josh Taylor.
That's
so
what
then
I
there
want.
you go, and you've got
Sweet.
no chance. So why are you trying to make an excuse?
No, you said it. I'm just saying you postpone the fight. I want this
because
fight.
I was injured, you clown.
All right.
Jack gave Josh a little mad. Josh is just a meanie, isn't he? The meanie. Anyone for the CATARALL upset on Saturday? What's his chances?